All right. This is not necessarily a video I was looking forward to doing, but we're going to have to do it. Um, I'm sure anybody who's a Galaxy nut knows about what's going on with all the new dual final Galaxies. Now, when I say dual final Galaxies, I don't mean the radios without this fin, although those are having problems too. But I mean all these new 10-meter radios that have 3 MOSFETs back here. Here's what happened. And I hooked this one up and did not do the modification on it just to see really how bad this problem is. And yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty fucked up. This radio is brand new. It's lasted a week. Okay. Now, I am not doing this video to knock this radio. Understand, first and foremost, this, along with all, most of the new Galaxy 10-meter radios, let's be honest, we've always had to go in and do this or do that to get what we want out of a Galaxy. The nice thing about it is they've always put the shit in there for us to do it. My take on this 86V is what we're working on now, is I think it's a nice upgrade to a 148, okay? When you're done, the switch gives you a 40 up, 40 down, which everybody with a 148 wanted. You got the variable power, the 5-digit counter. And when the radio is working, I had it keying a half a watt and swinging damn near 48 of PEP at 13.8 volts. That's not even a volt in it. So it's a radio worth having, but there's a failure. There's a failure to plan issue going on here. When they started using these MOSFETs, and they always scrub the numbers off of these guys, they're IRF 520s. That's all it's in there. Get you a pile of those. And a freaking, where am I? We call it God. You can buy them online. You get one with something like this little guy right here. You check your transistors. You match them for gain. You put 3 in there to match. Done. Okay. Now, what fails is the AM power regulator and its driver. There's its driver. Okay. Now, we already planned for this. We knew it was going to happen. Okay. Pretty soon on eBay from 409 Radios, you're going to see a kit for all of these radios, from this all the way up to the 99V2. Now, what's going to come in that kit are 3 matched IRF 520s. This is our main problem, this big guy. It took a week for it to fail. Now, what this one did was it would, at first it worked great, and then after a while, a couple, 3 days, you turn it on, it wouldn't key at first. Then I got that problem just perpetuated, and it got worse and worse and worse until now it just don't keep. Okay, so we got no voltage going to the MOSFETs. This, they failed to plan. Somebody failed to take into account. I don't know if you can explain like the momentum. I guess the electronic momentum is how I would explain it. I am not a factory school trained engineer or nothing. I explain it the way I can. These transistors are very good about producing a tremendous amount of forward swing from a very low carrier, and when biased properly, they do it clearly. There's the plus. Okay, here's the drawback. Either they didn't know or didn't, somewhere in the fan play. Here's the problem. These MOSFETs in that form of in that procedure of operation, when you key it down and you talk, and when these transistors pull current to go forward and give you that forward swing, they are pulling way harder than the old 2312s were. You back in the day, you'd have I think it was a 2166 driving either 1969s or 2312s, and some guys would take the SWR bridge out and volt those and do crazy shit. Here, with these new finals, not new finals, they've been using these in audio amplifiers for cars for years, but now they're using them in radios because the world's getting crazy, guys. We all know this. This is what we have to deal with now. So me being a Galaxy guy, we're going to have to figure out all its twerks. I mean, I can look all day at what other people say on the internet about these radios, but until I see it do what they are complaining about, it's really hard for me to just blindly go in and start ripping a brand new radio apart. So we let this one fail, and I let it fail on purpose. This is my personal radio. I bought it for me. I actually have one for me, one for one of my customers, and we have one in stock. And the customer is going to get his fully converted when he gets it. It's a brand new radio, but when they put these radios together at the factory, they don't have some little geek sitting there with a tester and checking them for gain and everything they need. All the numbers that are supposed to match as well as you can get them to match. They throw whatever they can get in their hands in there, and the machine puts them in. With this kit that we're going to produce, you're going to get 3 of these matched already. This from the factory, now this is the problem. And I keep going back to this, and I know I got to finish this statement. This is the main problem. These transistors, when they do their job, are pulling way harder on this circuit than I believe was anticipated by the engineers at Galaxy. This is a 5 amp regulator. I believe it's a 5 to 8 amp regulator. Okay. We are going to replace it and its driver. This is a 25 amp regulator. Okay. Once we put this dude in there, we're never going to have a problem with this again. Finals are done. We're going to do the amp power regulator now because it finally failed. I did the match finals thing just because I know how they match this stuff up in the factory, and it's 7 times out of 10 you're going to pull them out, find out that one of them shouldn't have been there with the other 2. So just match them up, put them in, be done. And yes, I'm going to say, basically, we're going to make the kit. If you buy one of these radios, you take it out of the box, you do the conversion. On this one, you plug a plug in and pull a solder joint, 2 solder bridges loose, or a little solder bridge, you pull it loose. Bam. That activates this switch to go to 40 down, regular 40, and 40 up. The radio's made to do what we're going to do with it, guys. But the problem is there's a failure to plan. Somebody didn't anticipate the damage that's going to be done to a 5 amp regulator on these things having the capability to give you 45 watts of PEP from a half a watt dead key. Okay, that's pretty freaking impressive. I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm going to tell you something. This is probably the most stable radio I've ever used. It only has a 5-digit on the front, but I have checked it on my 6-digit on my scope. In the entire week this thing's been hooked up, unless I touch the clarifier, it has not come off a 5.0 on the external scope. It does not drift. Okay? There are some other issues, though. Lescom, if you watch Les's videos, he'll tell you. There's a crystal filter in here that needs to be changed, and I'm going to order some of those. And what that does is these new radios are the references are digitally oscillated. Learn your theory and then learn the difference between analog and digital, and then you'll understand that statement. Because I'm just not intelligent enough to explain it in a manner where everybody who's watching this is going to be able to explain it. The bottom line is they're making the radio's reference be generated in a different way, and it causes noise in the receiver. Now, in order to get rid of some of that noise, there's a 3-pole crystal filter deal. I believe it's this one. I'll have to go back, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm stealing it from Les. He did it on a video, so we saw it. That's going to be in the kit. This regulator is going to be in the kit. The driver for the regulator, because it's not going to do any good to redo the tabletop if the legs that it's sitting on are still messed up. So we're going to put the 25 amp regulator here and its matched driver in front of it. These caps will get changed to the 3300s. At that point, it should be pretty stable. But here's the thing. If you're going to buy one of these radios, this all the way up to the frickin' 99, any 3 final or any dual final 10-meter Galaxy, it's coming as a 10-meter radio, it's got these finals, and it's got that regulator, and it's going to fail if you do not do this before you use the radio. Now, if you don't do it and the radio fails, is it going to kill the radio any worse than it, is it going to cause more damage? I don't think so. I'm about to do the rest of the kit on this one. We're going to see how it pans out. But understand me, this is still a radio. I'm only here. Put it this way. I like this radio enough that we build DACs. You guys know we rebuild DACs here all the time. Okay. Here, very soon. Matter of fact, effective immediately. If you want a DAC custom built here, we are no longer giving you the option to supply us with your radio chassis. Because I've ran into problems with, not only do I not know where that chassis has been, but neither do you. To be honest. 8 times out of 10 when one of those come in, they've got it from somebody else used. Nobody's taking it out of the box and knows its history. And now I have a hard time justifying what I charge you guys, handing you a radio with a used chassis on it. So that is no more. These are being sold as new radios. You're going to get new chassis. If you wish to build a sideband DAC, your option is the 86V chassis is what we will put in there. If you want to build a straight AM 40 channel DAC like a 9, keep it original, you will get either a Cobra 29, old school, not digital phase, or what we're really sticking with pretty good is the 919 Galaxy. It's the perfect replacement. We usually do a 919 Galaxy on straight AM with a pair of 6LQ6 tubes, that's 200 watts a peak, and it works. So we're basically the option for you to supply your own radio. We've squashed that. I'm sorry, we can't do that anymore. Not only is it causing me more time and anguish on the bench, but there's a possibility that it could cause you guys who are not within driving distance of me anguish if something fails, and you can't just get in the car and drive it here. So this way I know what I'm handing you, exactly what I'm handing you. So our recommendation is on any brand new 10-meter Galaxy with MOSFET finals, and yes, they filed the numbers off and then they put it on the schematics, a freaking IRF 520. You can use 510s in here. I don't recommend it. The 10s will work, but not for long. So now we're going to do the regulator portion of this, the AM power regulator. We're going to take care of that. And I'm going to, because I've got this thing keying so low, I'm just playing with it, try to see what I can get it to do. So we're going to bring the carrier up to some mortal levels, like a low 1 watt and absolute high end on the radio itself, like 3 or 4. Now it's down to a half and like 1, turned all the way up. But it's still swinging 45 until it, and I did that on purpose. I wanted that regulator to get the life sucked out of it as quickly as possible. If that's a problem, guess what? It's a problem. The regulator sucks. So we're going to pull it out of there. So guys, no, we're not. I'm not saying you guys that like to listen to my suggestions, and keep in mind their only life as I know it. I have had my hands in this radio and many others over the last 30 years when I've been in business. I'm going to tell you guys something. These new Galaxies, the 10-meter chassis are fine. They're worth having. They don't drift. Now, if you go buy a 40-channel CB Galaxy, you bought a throwaway. $959 on down. The 919 is fine when it's not being bounced around in a truck. Okay? The ones they're making for straight AM 11-meter 40-channel 2696 to 2740, basically the biggest one you're going to get in that arena is the Galaxy 959. Well, yes, they're easy to channel. Yes, it's a sideband radio, but it is a throwaway. And they are very unstable. They're a bitch to tune and keep on frequency. They drift when they're cold. These don't do any of that. Okay? The straight 40-channel radios, the CBs are just thrown together. You're paying for a freaking nameplate on the front. Because all it is a stripped down the version of their 40-channel. But let's be honest, it does talk. A Galaxy 919, you can take that thing with the variable carrier that's on the front. It's there. Use it. You can take it down to a 2-watt deck. You still make it swing 20, 25 watts a peak. It's a great radio to throw one of our single pill boards in. And if that's all you're going to do with it, that's fine. If you want extra channels and sideband stability, you don't want to chase your radio all over the place. You want to sit and use your radio, stay in the 10-meter arena with the Galaxies, and do what they failed to do. And I hate to say that. It breaks my heart to say something bad about a Galaxy, but we're going to have to say it. They dropped the ball. That regulator sucks. They should already be fixing that problem, in my opinion. Production on these should have already stopped. And it's 2 transistors, at least keep them running another year before the mismatched finals start acting up. So that's what I have found out. I'm going to find out if I'm right here in a few minutes. I'm going to throw these in there. And then keep your eyes out on eBay. Pretty soon in the 409 store, you will see what we have to offer. And we have the Cobra 2000 counter driver rebuild kit. That comes with all the capacitors, all the transistors, heavier Zener diode, heavier regulators. We put 20 of those kits together. We sold them. We haven't had a complaint on near a single one. Every one of them, I believe, has worked. So this is our next generation of kits that we're going to offer you guys. And like I said, you're going to have 3 finals, the caps, the AM power regulator, the driver for that regulator, excuse me, and the crystal filter to narrow the bandwidth to make the receive sound a little smoother. So There it is. I spent 15 minutes rambling about the fact that they didn't upgrade one transistor. But I got a lot of guys swaying away from these and going to them freaking strikers. Okay, and don't get me wrong. I'm not a hater. I don't mind strikers, but anybody that has one will tell you they suck when you put them on power. There's a whole basket full of problems with strikers and power and modulated mics. I see guys using them strikers. They got freaking ferrite beads wrapped around their mic cord to keep everything from squealing. That's stupid. That makes no sense to me. But I'm not a striker guy, so I can't really say that it's wrong. I'm just saying I don't agree with it. I like having this Galaxy. I'm going to go ahead and put the freaking $40 kit in and be done. And my $220 radio just became a $260 radio. However, it's going to perform every bit as well as a 99 V2 on every function that it has on it. That's the plus. So this is you get this radio online unconverted without the regulators for $230. If you've got any brains when you buy it, even if you don't buy this kit from me, go to the schematic, find the parts, match the finals, upgrade the regulator at least if you don't do the caps and the crystal filter. If you don't change that regulator, you're going to be paying somebody else to do it. It's a week old, guys. 1 week old, and it failed. Okay? Now, yes, I'm disappointed, but like I said, we expected it. I wanted to see how bad the problem actually was, and my customers will tell you, yes, I will break shit to find out what's wrong. We did it to this one. I let it fail. Brand new radio out of the box. Converted it to 11 meters. Made it swing its ass off. 7 days later, we're doing the regulator kit on it. So, yes, it's necessary. That is not hype. Everything you're hearing about the AM power regulator failures on these 10-meter radios is 125% true. As I go putting my 25 amp in now to replace the 5 to 8 one that they supplied it with. So, there'll be another video on this one. Hopefully, it'll be talking. And the kit takes, now the rest of the kit takes care of it. So, here we go. 7.3s, guys. All right, everybody. Here we go. This is our DX86V video part 2. Now, you guys saw in the last video, we had it all taken apart on its roof. And we told you about the common problems, which are, the AM power regulator, the filter caps in the power supply, and the 15 kilohertz cutoff are all going to have to be changed. However, we bought 3 of these. Now, the one you saw yesterday, if anybody pays attention to the video, we tried to do a pretty high definition video, but when you pay attention to that video, you're going to see that the solders on the board of that particular unit were pretty chintzy. I mean, just at a glance, it looked like the whole board needed to be soldered up. Well, I got concerned about that, so we opened up another one that had come in the same batch, and it's fine. So when you get one of these, the very first thing you need to do is take the top lid off and look at the quality of the solder connections. If it looks like the whole damn thing might need to be resoldered right off the bat, and believe me, you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. There's no real pooling anywhere. There's already cracks around some of the rings. So it's a brand new radio. We are not going to send it back for busted solder joints. Triple Nickel is my partner. He is an expert at reflowing these boards, and that's all that's wrong with it. It's really not even wrong with the radio. It works just fine, but it's a little intermittent. So we're going to have Nickel flow that board, and that one will be perfect. In the meantime, we did all the conversions on another radio that should have passed quality control, and it did. On this radio, it all came out perfect. Now, this is I have it hooked up on my bench because this is my personal radio. So here is our 86V converted. Once it's converted, everybody knows you can go up here for channels, you go down. The slider works and works just fine. And it does move, transmit, and receive. They are locked together. The only thing I don't like about it is in the A&L position is actually your power reading, your power control, and then you can flip it for your SWR. I wish they would have put a power mod or something on that, but they didn't. Well, once again, this is kind of an entry level. Now, let's get to power, okay? We have done nothing to this radio other than pull the 11 meter conversion, take the modulation to 85% threshold on the limiter, and at all the way down, this is our variable carrier that comes on the radio. It's right by the dimmer, as you can see. As you get our dimmer up and down. All the way down, we're getting, this is a 100 watt slug. We'll shut the peak off. Or no, here we're in 100 watts. We have a prescaler. Shut the peak off. And it's a 2 watt dead key. About 10, 9, 8, 9, 10 watts. Now, this is typical of MOSFETs, guys. Watch. Now, if this were a set of 2312s or something, you'd see a little more on the RMS side. But now, let's turn it back all the way down. And let's turn our peak switch on. This is typical of MOSFETs.
I did put our medical ID numbers over on here. I didn't say that on
Still a 2 watt dead key, but audio. That's a solid 45 watts of swing from a 2 watt dead key. Okay. It's got a nice solid carrier, and we do got a little bit of harsh edges on the scope. We're going to smoothen that out a little bit. I might take the modulation limiter down to about 80 maybe 75%. This is a hot-ass radio, guys. And something else. You guys that tell people you're putting swing kits in radios, in 10-meter radios and sideband radios, okay, there is no such thing. Stop lying to these people. You might be volting a transistor and making something swing differently, but as far as making a swing kit for a 10-meter radio, it's horse feathers, okay? These radios come with an AM power regulator control. You turn that down, peak the radio right, and you will get this. 2 watt carrier. And darn near 50 a peak. Okay. 2312s won't swing that far with this RMS power level. So that's kind of the good thing about the MOSFETs. So the first thing you're going to look for on these units when you buy them, take the top off, inspect the circuit board. If it looks chintzy or cheesy or like somebody wasn't doing their job today, if you're smart enough to buy this radio, take it apart, convert it yourself, you're smart enough to look at the board and inspect it for the quality of the solder and the assembly. We got one that was poor. We're going to fix it. All it is solder. The solder's cheap. I don't care about that. I'm not going to send it back just to be reflowed. I can reflow it here with my partner. Will do it. Other than that problem in that radio, and the problem with the regulators from the factory, now we have put in here, this is the regulator that comes in it, and it's a 2SA, or it's an A something. I can read it. Probably read it close. Kind of light to read. Let's shed a little light on the subject. Where'd it go? Here we go. It is a 2SB 827Q. I know they used to be a 2SB 745. This is probably some updated version. Now, not only did we change this one, and this is the main problem, like I showed you in the video, and this was out. This one was bad. We had two problems in that last radio. The problems that Galaxy already had, and somebody not doing their job flowing the board. So we've repaired that. But these are the two main problems with that radio. And when you buy it, these should be changed immediately. First thing you do is inspect the board for quality of assembly. Then you're going to go to your AM power regulator, and you're going to change it. You're going to change the driver in front of it. And then you're going to go to the finals and snatch all three of them out. Order some matched ones. If you can't order matched ones, order a handful of them and get one of these little devices here, and it'll match them up for you. Okay? With 3 matched finals, a good AM power regulator set, the 20, I think they're 1500s or 17s, go to 3300 mics on the power supply. That's your result. A nice clean 2-watt dead key. Solid 45 watts of PEP all day. So, yes, like I said, you guys, it's a Galaxy. You're going to have to go ahead and give it some love before it's going to give you any love. It's typical. They've been that way for 20 years. There's nothing that's changed. However, quality of workmanship, I'm a little concerned about after seeing the last one that just came in. So that's why I tell you guys what to do. Take the top lids off of them as soon as you get them. Inspect that circuit board. Make sure it's been flowed properly. If it hasn't, don't bother converting it. Once you convert it, it's yours. No more warranty. So inspect the board first. If the board looks good, go ahead and do the conversion. And then get the kit. Even if you don't get the kit from us, get the kit and do this whole AM power regulator kit. You can hear my dogs losing their mind in the background. All this has to be done to the radio. Okay? Once you've done all this to the radio, you once again have a $300 Galaxy. Okay, that's normal. If you want, quality costs two things, time and money. And with Galaxy, it's even worse because you're going to spend the money first, and then you got to spend the time to get the quality out of it. I believe this radio is what they said it is, other than it's a couple of iniquities that need to be straightened out. But overall, we will endorse this chassis, and we will be using it in our decks. Pardon me. Any sideband deck that we build will be getting this chassis. So, only with a 6-digit counter. The nice part about it is this is good bones. I can do whatever you guys want to do to this chassis. So, this is now your new DAC 10 option. It is my personal radio here. And yes, we got a goofy one. And, I'll tell you guys the whole story every time. One of the 3 that we got, it was somebody was lazy at the flow machine that day. And we got one that shouldn't have passed inspection. However, in the hands of a lesser shop, that would be a problem. Here, we're just going to fix the damn thing. So, there you go. There's your 86V overview. I like it enough that this one is mine. This is for 409's personal 86V. Now, let's have some fun. Let's just show you the kind of swing. I'm going to take this thing off the dummy load. I'm going to put it on my dirty bird over here, my Firebird. This Firebird came in. This is a total rebuild. That Firebird came in with no tubes. Needed to be rebuilt. And this one doesn't have a speck of rust. I'm changing coaxes, so bear with me. This one doesn't have a speck of rust on it anywhere. You can still see your reflection on the inside chassis of this amplifier. So, being as though it was my first, not this particular one, but a Firebird 500 was my first amp 35 years ago. Had a big hole in the top where some idiot put a fan on it. Don't put fans on these guys. Firebird didn't put one on there. Why are you doing it? So now, we're on the Firebird. Now, on this meter, of course, we're going to get a little bit different readings. So we're going to put our Firebird on standby. And let's go. Now, this thing's going to tell us probably about 25 or 30. 25 on the money. Okay? So there's our 25 watts, and we're driving it according to this meter, according to the load on the antenna. 2.5 watt dead key. So now, we got 2.5 watt dead key. We're going to fire up our old Dirty Bird. Go to the 1,000 watt scale. Let's kill the dead key. Gives us a nice 150 watt dead key with the radio turned all the way down on power, which you should. 2 watt dead key into a Firebird is all you should give it. But the swing is nice. 700 watts of swing. Okay, this radio will make your freaking amp come unglued. It's a great driver radio. And when we put our 2-pill on it, and you drive like a pair of 3500Zs or something, forget about it. It's over with. So, the radio is worth having. Like I said, it is worth having because I bought one for my damn self. You see how it makes our old Dirty Bird run. And I get nothing but flowers, even with this goofy-ass mic I'm running, this old Workman Bandit. A friend of mine gave me this mic, and the bottom, it had no cord. The bottom was hanging by one screw. There were wires hanging out of it. The head was loose. He said, that mic sucks and just this and that. I told him, don't get mad when I fix it. Well, guess what? I fixed it. And I talk to him every day on it. So that's our overview of the 86V, guys. Get them. If you like this kind of radio, get it. But please, take the top cover off first. Inspect the solders for quality. If it looks like somebody put a sheet of tinfoil over it and just heated it up, that's not quality. So all those solders should be bubbled and solid little blobs or solid little mirrors of solder, not thin-looking, frail-looking cracks and rings around it already. What happened to the last radio was an improper flow when the board was produced. Now, we have these fancy soldering stations now, so we can reflow a board. Pardon me, and Nickel's real good at it, so Nickel's going to do that one. And I believe we've already got that one sold to put it in a base station. So we won. We did what we said we were going to do. Yes, the amp power regulator is a problem. Change it. The caps are a problem. Change them. They do not match the finals from the factory, so Matt just set up IRF 520s. Get your little box like this. They're freaking $20 on eBay. They're worth $1 million to me. Once you get one of these and figure out how to use it, you'll freaking love it. Match you up three IRF 520s. Do the 15 kilohertz conversion on the receive. And then, in my opinion, this radio is worth $3.5, $400. Just because it's stable. Channels are there. It's making power. It likes making more power. Receive is out of this world. We endorse it. So there you go. 409 Radio says get the 86V. But if you get it, look under its skirt and make sure it's healthy. That's all. So take care, guys. 7.3s. We got a lot more projects coming. So keep an eye on the channel. We'll see you.